have we delinquents to face. But just like any other place, look, the things that I say about here is really too much for me to bear, because my people are daily making progress without any form of stupidness, and in this way we must gain success. For when we move in, we all move as one body, no bickering between you and me, for our policy stands for racial equality. Now when a stranger spending a little time in this lovely isle, every day you see him, he always have a hearty smile. When his time is up to depart, he would say with pride in heart, I'll be back, you could bet your life. And if I can't come, I will send my wife. And then he'll tell you he really wants her to come, to drink some rum and have plenty fun in this great island in the sun. For Trinidadian, as foreigners to recall, it doesn't matter whether big or small, or if you're rich or poor, friends, we cater for one and all. So all of them we're talking, they either drunk or they're steering mad, or maybe they forgetting Mr. Universe belongs to Trinidad. And yet we have men of talent and skill, with high hopes of improving still. And if you think all this is a lie, the mighty sniper will tell you why. Now our steel band is the best talent in this world. Like calypsos or stories are told, which is written to touch your soul. So Trinidad, this lovely land of my book, small but overwhelming in work. And as you know, Carnival is the greatest frolic on earth.
Yes, indeed, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry. Trinidad is my land, and of it I am proud and glad. Yes, indeed, of course, and no one, including the PNM Rowley and his minions, will be allowed to destroy it, will be allowed to subvert it, will be allowed to put it in a state of perpetual decadence, in a state of total and absolute retrogression, in a state of perpetual, as well as, and whether or not it is ephemeral or fugacious, yes, temporary, the fact of the matter is that this sinking Trinidad and Tobago, propelled by Rowley and his minions, must be dislodged before Trinidad sinks. And that is where we are going. That is where we are going, people. We must, of course, ensure that is why I say to you, that these times are crucial, and that elections have consequences, and that when you go to the polls, because you would have been informed in what is clearly a democracy, we still have a democracy, Rowley and they could try to make it an autocracy. They could try to make it a totalitarian state. They could try to make it a state where democracy is thrown out, and of course dictatorship prevails. Somehow Rowley believes that he can pursue and convert Trinidad and Tobago into some kind of royal dictum or operation. Yeah, I believe that this could be a monarchy, I say so from the perspective that he wants, of course, to anoint a leader for the PNM, and in the process as well, because he is Prime Minister, only, of course, by legal, only by legal recognition, but in reality, he is the scum of the earth and had no, and still have no business being Prime Minister. He could say what he wants. And I want to show you tonight how the situation in Trinidad and Tobago has come full circle. And that the people like Ventor, Justice Ventor, a former judge who was deputy chair of the Integrity Commission, people like former independent Senator Drayton, who stood up in the parliament as an independent senator and asked that the Kamala Prasad Bissessa call an early election. That the Father Harvey wanted to perform, and in fact he said he performed an exorcism, asking, of course, Kamala Prasad Bissessa before the 2015 elections to leave office. We had the Calypsonians making vitriolic statements in song about the UNC. I identify, of course, Crow. And there's a reason for me identifying these individuals, because it was Crow who talked about Lake Bottom African. And I had an opportunity to, of course, interview him when we were on the radio station some time back. And the reason for interviewing him is because there was a spat between himself and another driver or motorist of another vehicle, and he was driving a CPEP vehicle, a CPEP Hilux. And he watched the man like number 2, or is it number 3 or number 4? And somehow, whether it was a bad driver or not, he started to use racial slurs. He Crow in a CPEP vehicle. I remind you, that was after the 2015 elections, and when Carnival came around and he had to present his offering for that particular Carnival season, he was calling on Rowley and we're going to play it for you. Rowley, where all you? Hines, only forget me. But as soon as he got, of course, that CPEP contract, he became, or he reverted back to the role that typifies, of course, people who not only are they undeserving, not only are they suffering from an inferiority complex, but haven't gotten the position and therefore have some kind of advantage, some kind of authority. They then, of course, display behavior that are not just despicable, not just racist in outlook, but arrogant and contemptuous and vitriolic and macabre. Yeah. So I had to ask him the question, he Coco, on, of course, at that radio station that we were at before on the ground report. I had to ask him, well, now that PNM give you a job in CPEP, could you now consider yourself a Lake Bottom African? And guess what? He was so stunned by that question that he had to be honest. And he said, yes, I am a leg bottom African. Because you see, he was trying to tell us that he didn't want a job. Why he was, of course, so vitriolic and so scathing about the UNC, whether it be Pandey, whether it be Kamla, whether the UNC as an entity, whether, of course, they are, or the issue was about Indians. So when, of course, he's out driving, of course, a CPEP vehicle, and I said, would you now consider yourself, since you didn't want any job, would you now consider yourself a leg bottom African? He said yes. So he's licking, of course, Rowley bottom, in other words. Because, of course, he realized that he was caught. And it had nothing to do with performance, but has to do, of course, with a racial disposition. But let me go on. So you had the people like Father Harvey, who, of course, lining with Rowley and attempting, of course, to continue the brainwashing of the African community, and all over places like John and, of course, Laventil, etc., Movant, and projecting onto the rest of the society that somehow the PNM is the salvation of Trinidad and Tobago. And boy, did Rowley exploit that. I am clear in my mind that Rowley would have been saying, "Oh, that's so stupid. Father Harvey, you're talking about Coco, Justice Vento, oh, that's so stupid. Only playing to my agenda." I'm saying so within the context of that, what is occurring and what has occurred between 2015 and now, and the Rowleys, of course, perfidious or betrayal tendency, and his true character has come to the fore, so we could say without fear of contradiction, we could say that it is indubitable, undoubtedly, that he is a despicable, opportunistic, racial, and contemptuous, narcissistic, and at the same time, one that, of course, has a deep inferiority complex. I'll come there with respect to this inferiority complex. You'll see how that ties into tonight's program. But of course, I cannot, of course, complete that list without, of course, mentioning Roger. Roger was up and down. And indeed, I must say, even what I consider to be the great effervescence, very rational, common sense oriented, and I think as far as situations are concerned where at least the social relationship between and among people is concerned, I think Warner would have been one of the superlatives in that regard. But he got caught in the Rowley rush as well. He got caught too. But of course, for different reasons. Or should I say, the genesis of he getting caught and tied up in the web of the nasty and politically greedy and avarice web of Rowley, but because Rowley was able to tell him about the enemy of my friend, or the friend of my enemy is my friend. Yeah. But the enemy of my friend is my friend. because he was, of course, challenging Kamala Prasad Bisesa at the time, because he felt that he was, of course, unjustly treated, when history having unfolded, would now have to vindicate Kamala Prasad Bisesa and to say categorically that she was correct when she dismissed Warner from the government of Trinidad and Tobago, because he was an existential threat and, of course, threatening the collapse of the government because of the FIFA scandal. But he portrayed it at the time as though everything was hunky-dory. I asked him, because we were pretty close at the time, I asked Warner whether or not his sons were being interrogated or for whatever reason kept under investigation in the United States, and he told me at the time, no, up to the time when he was, of course, contesting the seat, having, of course, been dismissed from the UNC, or having withdrawn from the UNC, and he was challenging the Shogunas West constituency by virtue of the ensuing by-elections. But of course, we know now that Kamala Prasad Bisesa was right to take action to defend, of course, that edifice, that monolithic, that spectacular, that political organization called the UNC. And that today, if other than that, if she didn't do that, then of course the situation as far as history would have been concerned would be different. I could see Rowley and them saying, no matter what, you kept him. But she kept him in the government as long as she could and protected him. That much we now know. That much we now know. But he got caught up in Rowley's web as well. So he and Roger, Warner and Roger, they locked arms and they were marching, of course, down to Shagaramas on behalf of the displaced or the dispossessed farmers in relation, of course, to the dispute of the land that was taken away from them during, of course, the period or that should I say, treaty of the use of Shagaramas as a naval base by the Americans under, of course, an arrangement with the British. Yes, people. Yes, people. But let me go to the lines immediately. I didn't get a chance, of course, to salutate you, but I will do so after this. Let's go straight to the line. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yes, good night, Mr. Lennox Smith.
Good night
You're
to you.
talking about them people, Warner. I'd already like to hear his name called too much, you know.
But history is history, and I have to recall it accurately.
History. Yeah, hear how with what he might cause all kind of thing is
Yes.
bacchanal in the place because he might, right?
Yeah.
And since the last time when he say coming back in party for the local election, I get damn vexed because I find Kamala shouldn't have he nowhere around she. And if he come wrong again, and in this election here coming, I'm not voting. And I would not be talking on any program to talk anything for any UNC. Right?
Why would you not forgive? Why would you not forgive? Why?
No, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that.
You have time for forgiving?
Yeah, all right. Nah. Listen to this part now.
Right.
We want to talk about he too much. I don't say that and I mean it.
Yeah.
So, a global organization for Indian people. I can't remember the rest of the name that the organization has, but it's concerning Indian people.
Yeah.
I don't know if you hear about it. I don't know if you talk about it before you start talking about this man, Roan Andy,
Yeah,
because
there's
I
a
come
particular
in
way
kind of
I
late.
am going, but go ahead.
Before I move on, you hear about what the statement the people made, the Global Association?
No, this is what I'm saying. So you go ahead and I will tell you if I would have been aware or not.
Well, it seems as though you're not aware. Well, let me bring it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what they said is that they want Stuart Young withdrawn from the Nagar,
Yeah.
where he would have to give a speech at the Nagar, at the ending or wherever
Uh-huh.
time in the Nagar when they're having these performances each night.
Mm-hmm.
So they asked that the organization, the Nagar organization, do not let Stuart Young give any speech. They put that order, that global organization for Indian people.
Uh-huh.
You will find out the correct name for the
Yeah, I certainly do.
organization.
Go
And
ahead. You do that.
I find the damn right. I know them the Valley people or the Wali people invite Stuart Young to talk in the thing after they talk about the people. So, eh?
Mm-hmm.
That's how stupid them is. That is too much of foolishness. When Rowley said the people at Trinidad and Tobago foolish, they damn foolish. So this organization showing them how foolish they is. Imagine an international body had to put order here in we country to have this man withdraw. And them Diwali people invite, look here now, I want to say something, I want to say something, but I can't say it. You hear?
Caller, hold on. I'll talk to you in a while. We have someone else on the
It's
line.
a shame and all them father priests too. It's a big shame. I always have to say that with them father priests and them. Okay. With the bishop. So this is why I'm coming back now to this. I'm saying that to say this.
Yeah.
This is why we need international help, and that is the power of international bodies. It have all kind of thing. They could have a say and give pressure when you see this government doing anything.
All right.
Because there was really unfair all in the parliament with this woman just, take it cool, and he apologized in a kind of way. This is satisfy global organization, international organization. So we need help inside of here. And I salute these people. I like that. Embarrass all of them shut up bitch inside of here. I go on.
All right, thanks very much. I'm certainly going to going to look up that. I know that there was an incident with, of course, TTT, where they were experiencing technical issues as soon as Kamala Prasad took the podium, and just after she completed her address, the thing went back to normal. I know that there's that controversy. I know that, of course, Stuart Young addressed the audience as well as, of course, Prime Minister. But I will zero in on what she had to say with respect to the global organization. Professor, good night. Welcome.
Hello?
Professor, good night. Welcome.
Good night.
Yes.
I on the program?
Yes, you're on the program. Yes, you're on the... Welcome to the Corridor Transformation.
All right. Well, you're doing a very good job. God bless all of you.
Thank you.
I want this message to go to Miss Prasad Josa.
Okay.
Now, Jack Warner is a very good man. I know the man. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to forget the past.
Okay.
Those five legislators that were there for the internal election is worse than him.
Mm-hmm.
And the pundit, they call himself a pundit, he is worse because he said, we're not going to contest that if he going to, no pundit.
Okay.
Because let me tell you something. Bishop for what to be on the other program.
Yeah.
Like when he should not be on a program if he's a bishop. To talk a lie and do those type of things. And if a pundit have no right to be an MP, you could be in politics, you support a party, you meet your people, you talk and so on and so. But you should not be an MP. Because if you want to be a pundit to teach the right thing or a bishop or a reverend or what it is, get yourself to talk the truth like all you. And don't find yourself in those type of confusion. You understand?
Yes.
As a pundit to go against a woman. Look at Diwali time. It's a woman we adore, Mahalakshmi and in 9 sisters. And you as a pundit will stand up to go and say things against a woman. You want from Kavati, you want from Mayaro, the 5 of them. There are nobody, just one of the them. What happened already. And Kava should take it back in the party. And let me tell you this, if people forget, I don't forget, I told. Now, when Jara Shimangal took the Lahokata seat.
That's right.
Under the UNC, you remember that?
I remember that very distinctly. A very congenial individual, very warm and approachable.
This
Yes.
someone let Lahokata people know that she should send him up Lahokata. He was the man who built the road from Lahokata. I can't remember the way, because I remember away. And he was the man with Mr. Simangal to build the swimming pool. They didn't get nothing on that PNM. You understand?
Yes, yes.
So she should, let's take this to she should take back Mr. Jack Warner in the party and give him to work on a seat. But he did that work in Lahoketa.
Okay, great.
Right?
Great, yes, yes. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
That pundit, he is nobody. Because if Jack were not going to contest that seat, he go, you are not damn body into the priest today nonsense, bishop today nonsense, reverend today nonsense,
All right.
what kind of person you is? And this Indian woman with sandal in her forehead, I don't want to say that. She has sandal in her forehead. If I get cut off, I care. And she's running on a stage like a mad cow. That sandal is there to respect people, respect elderly, respect your husband, and respect all the saints and churches. That woman has no respect for that sandal. She should not put on no sandal in her forehead. And I'm sending a message to the people I said, do not vote nobody. And none of them Indians will say they go UNC. They are better than Paulo and they are better than Jack. If they're going UNC, vote them. If they're going A&M, don't vote them. You hear?
Yes. Right.
Thanks, sir.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. And send that message to Miss Asad, sir.
Okay, great. I'm sure that she would have gotten it, and I'm sure that she's listening. Yes.
I want you to take my number and call me off the air. It's something very important.
All right. All right. Let me see how I will do that.
We can try to win this election.
Okay.
Cameron never lost an election, you know.
Okay.
One time for 5 o'clock, we said it had rain and he stopped the voting. You remember that?
Yes. I remember that. Yes. When we made an intervention.
Next time, ballots didn't finish check. We come on CNC News and say, we win.
Yeah.
Cameron never lost, you know.
Yes.
Thank you. You call me, what you call me?
Yes.
Thank you, I'm going.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your intervention. You have to call me after the program and give me a number. I don't want to take it on air as such. I think you'll be doing yourself an injustice if you're trying to keep the number away from, let's say, the general population that are viewing tonight. And of course, from persons who would view the live after, of course, we would have completed this exercise at around 10 o'clock tonight. But of course, clearly, she is she sounds like a senior citizen, and of course is in favor of course, unification, uniting, and of course, people like Jack Warner have a role to play. And of course, she did mention certain concerns that she would have had in terms of the attitude of others. But I was making the point. I was making the point about certain elements, and of course, it included, of course, Jack Warner, that would have made certain, let's say, at the time, accusations and statements that gave an advantage to the PNM. They didn't have much work to do because, of course, dirty linens were being exposed. So, like the caller, I say that is water under the bridge. You see, because it is difficult for one to say that, listen, you should not, of course, re-engage persons who are willing so to do and have a contribution to make still, when, of course, you will have to also explain to me why it is that Winston Gypsy Peters, a man who sang the sinking ship and decimated the PNM in 1986, don't forget that. But today, he is, of course, a chairman under a PNM administration, the Rowley administration, allowing himself to be used, of course, as chairman of the NCC. So I am not going to be hypocritical or find myself in a state of what I consider to be situational ethics, as some religious leaders, depending on where the pendulum swings and depending on your advantage, you then, of course, justify that which you would not have justified last week, and of course, you would of course purify that which you at one time saw as the devil, which baked a particular cake. So let us just waste time. In other words, that is the nature of our politics. We are a small society, and we have people who are willing, of course, to give of themselves, and they also are prepared, of course, to forgive and to, of course, let the bygones be bygones as they continue in circumstances where the greater good recognizes and relies and becomes an imperative for the advancement of Trinidad and Tobago. And that time is now, because the Rowley administration have destroyed Trinidad and Tobago, and they have created an environment where if we do not jettison them, if we do not annihilate them, if we do not politically, of course, destroy them, they are going to destroy us as a society, as citizens, and as a nation. That is what we are talking about. And therefore, those who, the extent to which they can demonstrate credibility, and they can, of course, humble themselves, and they can, of course, say to the national community, and in this case, of course, it is the UNC must embrace or not embrace, and the UNC leadership sees that there is some genuineness, but at the same time, that the person can be of use to them in terms of advancing their cause towards, of course, the 26 to 27 seat, if not all blasted 39 in Trinidad, all 39 in Trinidad. So I have no difficulty, as I consider that senior citizen to be given some very sage, some very some very compelling and some very moral and ethical advice. And therefore, the catharsis, the purging must start and must begin with us willing to, of course, forgive. I have no difficulty. That and my own record is consistent, like the Northern Star, because remember, it was on the ground report we said all must come on board, and we continue to say the same. Of course, those who have demonstrated a level of arrogance and contempt and have a history of building and destroying at the same time, then that kind of what I consider to be synthesis, that kind of metabolism and anabolism, to use, of course, a biological term, we know that we must stay far from. I would stay far from, for example, a fella like Abdul, the head of MSJ, I will stay far from him. Yeah, I will stay far from him. I will, of course, feed with a long spoon a fella like Roger. But I certainly will embrace a fella like Jack Warner. Because since after that spat, that period, we have seen no evidence and there is no justification to say that he will turn out to be a Trojan horse. I think he knows about playing and being part of the team, and that he will conform to the party directives. And I think he will be a wonderful addendum to assist Kamla Persad-Bissessar on the way forward under the resuscitation of Trinidad and Tobago, having been plunged into the doldrums, into the abyss of socio-economic and psycho-cultural decadence. Yes, indeed. That's what we are talking about, people. So I am very, very convinced that there are those who we can use from at certain levels, but not to get too close, and there are others who you can hold closer. So as I said, I only use Gypsy as the graphic and the most conspicuous example that nobody could refute. Nobody. So don't tell me that Kamla Persad-Bissessar must not forgive a certain former or erstwhile friend and bring them back into the fold. Whilst, of course, Gypsy, that sang a song in the 1986 elections, Captain, the ship is sinking, and decimate the PNM 33. That song was played all over the place. I can remember that as we catapult to victory, and under the NAR, and of course A.N.R. Robinson becoming the Prime Minister then, and of course the man who they say was Duncy Chambers was, of course, relegated to the dustbin of political history. Sorry, but where the PNM is concerned, you would forgive me if I sung unrelentingly, not just unkind in terms of my choice of words or my lexicon or my vocabulary, because I think when one looks at the opportunism of Manning, and then worse yet, this fella who is in office now, we know that they were up to and clearly were no damn good for Trinidad and Tobago, and they ought not to have been, of course, at the helm of the PNM, far less that of the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and therefore, moving forward, we have a duty and responsibility to, of course, expunge them from the political arena and the political history but not the history, but certainly from the political matrix of Trinidad and Tobago. They are simply no good, and therefore must be. They are toxic. They have weaponized government against the people. Is a group of what I consider to be hustlers, squatters, who of course would be riding that chariot, if you want to call it that, of the PNM, ride them into government, and then they start, of course, to rape the treasury. Yes, indeed, pillage the treasury for their own aggrandizement, and then, of course, generate legislations and, of course, taking positions that are inimical to the interests of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. That is the reality. So I'm talking about them. But of course, don't forget that as late as the last local government elections, while Rowley was telling, of course, the African community and the sycophants, and whether you are African, Indian, or otherwise, he was poaching UNC members, castaways, people who could never, of course, make any significant dent or contribution to not just the UNC, but of course in government. And we have, of course, good potential talent as well, I want to say. Because, of course, that young man who is supposed to be that economist, or who contested the seat for the UNC in Point 14, what's his name? He has an African name. He was poached by the PNM. And I'm sure that he is of course regretting what he did. But that's a fella I could extend a hand as well, but of course, but from a distance. Compared to Warner, I will keep him further than Warner, because the way how he did it, it was not open, it was clandestine, and therefore you cannot trust such persons. They are the typical Trojan horse. What's his name? His name is he has done such a, what I consider to be dangerous a thing. He was so deceptive that his name and all evades me, because you put these kind of persons out of your mind, because if you look to study them, you may do things that they might rightfully deserve, but the law may say no, may have a different view of it. So let me leave it there. What's his name? Aki something. Yeah, but I'm sure one of you will remember. So I just want to make that point, that there we had it. A group of individuals who were wheeling public opinion. Ventor, Justice, Father Harvey, Crow, Independent Senator Helen Drayton, Roger, and to a lesser extent, of course, Warner, but we are going to pull him out of that cadre because of the way that he rebounded, and recognizing that it is in the national interest that he come on board and, of course, assist in the process of reviving Trinidad and Tobago and to resurface it from the drowning or the sinking that, of course, Rowley has plunged Trinidad and Tobago in. But the reality is that they caused collectively, nonetheless, a Rowley administration to be in office today. That we cannot forgive or forget, because it has proven to be dangerous for Trinidad and Tobago. So, why have I said all of that? I've said it, of course, to say that there is a reversal, there is a revolution, there is a movement and a gravitation towards the UNC. by those persons who had done wrong, and in their own way, of course, repenting, but more significantly, they are assisting in the process of getting young people or who we admonish to, of course, find the nearest registration office, the ID card office, if you want to call it that, the most appropriate EBC office, in other words, to get registered to vote once you are 18 years and over. And if it is you have been 18 this year, please do it as a matter of urgency. And if you will be 18 next year, do it as an imperative. Why? Because the country you will eventually save would be yours. Would be yours. And therefore you have a duty and responsibility. But before we go further, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, east, west, north, south, central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web. A pleasant good day to you. Yes, this is the Corridor Transformation, your host, Lennox Smith, and this is what we are all about.
Trinidad is my land, and of it I am proud and glad. But I can't understand why some people just talk it bad. But I know all of them we running them out. Don't know where they're talking about. They would paint your black every day, and the right things they would never say. Like our sportsmen being rated among the best.
Yes, people, of course, all of us love Trinidad and Tobago. We know and have read at least what it once was. It was peaceful, it was loving, it was progressive, it was academically opportunistic, meaning that people had opportunities and to expand their academic achievement and, of course, ability. And, of course, there was work and there was an industry called the oil and gas and petrochemical industry that they could have certainly get a job. But let's go to the lines. Let me just pause this, because when I return, we will certainly look at the other side of it as presented in song by Stalin and give us what Trinidad is today, even though he loved Trinidad and Tobago. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you as well, my friend.
All the listeners.
Yes, man.
And let's share the live.
Yes,
and to all your listeners on all the media platforms. Mr. Lennox,
hey,
you are so right. But you forget an independent senator who will be independent and yet still getting state brief. And he is very independent in the Senate. So, where the Integrity Commission chairman and where is the office of the Police Service Commission? So you see, those are the avenues what give the vampire the long fangs to suck in to the what you are talking about, because all these avenues, they come and they give him the authority because he go without punishment, and they are not doing the work because, as you say, he changed certain laws so he can have his way.
Yeah. Our president has a question. Hold on, caller. We have a caller from Faizabad online, all right? Go ahead, Mr.
Hello?
Faizabad. Yes.
Because just imagine, the vampire negotiate housing discount and they write it in on an integrity form. But you ever see you fill out a passport and they tell you put your next name and all your name on one line? So we are the people. Tonight is a different samba will say. 10 more months.
Yes, indeed.
And to the youths and to the youths of this nation, for 9 years you will be carried for a one-way ride to the bottomless pit of no return, because our economy is not going to reflect the true potential it has. Because shortage of goods are reaching the shelf. Businessmen are not getting the supply of certain items to put on the grocery shelf. So long by my children, and we have to be our own custodian of tomorrow. So let's unite and hear the call of our political leader, Ms. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, and rally around the UNC, and let's get this work done. Because everything she had said to the public is true. And you see where Rowley lies, and all his friends and them try to support him with lies. Have a nice night.
Thank you very much. Yes, man, redemption is nigh. Of course, a pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Mr. Lennox.
Good night to you, my dear.
This is Mrs. Valsine.
Hi, good night to you. Welcome.
I want to tell Miss Arima the group name is Gopio. Want to revoke back the invitation from the Diwali Nagar for Stuart Young not to talk. It was on news tonight.
All right, good. That is what I wanted to do. I knew the organization Gopio, yes, the global something for Indian culture.
Right?
Yes. Thank you very much.
They said they want the Diwali Nagar to revoke back the invitation for acting Prime Minister Stuart Young. Right?
Repeat that again, because as I say,
Gopio write to the Diwali Nagar, the head of Diwali Nagar,
yes,
to revoke back the invitation for Stuart Young not to talk on the last night of Diwali Nagar.
Oh, I see.
Right?
Okay, go ahead. Yes, man.
And Diwali Nagar, they're waiting on a response for Diwali Nagar to reply, but they don't want him in Diwali Nagar. It was on 7 o'clock news, which is the PNM channel, CNC3.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So they want the Diwali Nagar to revoke back the invitation for Stuart Young.
Great. All right. No,
right?
I say great because of the call.
And when they call on Stuart Young,
yes,
he never replied. But the only Gopio only waiting for Diwali Nagar to reply to revoke back the invitation. He is fit for the.
Beautiful.
Right?
Beautiful.
Right? Because in the news tonight saying to other groups saying he's not supposed to disrespect the opposition leader by this lesbian business.
Right? Hold on, I have another caller. Just hold on, right?
Okay, and then the news saying because of TCT with this black and all this woman, it was sabotage. So they're asking now, Gopio is right to Diwali Nagar, the head of Diwali Nagar, to revoke back the invitation for Stuart Young to not to attend to give the feature address.
Address, right. Beautiful. Thank you very, very much for that.
So Miss Arima, it is Gopio.
Gopio, right.
Okay?
Beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you see, that is what I like about programs like these. You have people who may have part of the information, and I want to thank Ms. Arima for introducing it. And then, of course, you have a clearer understanding as to what has transpired. So we know now is that Gopio, an organization I'm familiar with that deals with Indian culture, right here in Trinidad, have written, of course, from the information we just got there, to, of course, the management or the organizers of the Diwali Nagar, asking for the revocation of an invitation that was extended to the acting Prime Minister to come and, of course, close the Diwali Nagar. I don't know if Rowley will now take up the responsibility now. And, of course, it was on two grounds, clearly. One, his statement about the opposition leader, talking about Stuart Young, and the second is that, of course, the sudden convenient blackout or technical difficulty of TTT that caused the non-querying or non-broadcasting of the address to the nation at the Diwali Nagar site by the opposition leader Kamla Prasad Bisesa. I say well done. But let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yes, Mr. Lennox.
That's a good night.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Lennox.
Yeah, speak a little louder now, so because everybody want to hear you, man.
Yeah, well, the person you was trying to
Great,
remember
great,
is
yes,
Obika.
okay.
Obika, the man from Point Content, a brilliant finance man. But he's into finance.
What's his name?
Obika.
Obika, that's him, man. Thank you very much. That's why I know I could depend on people to, of course, could depend to pinch your memory.
That's what I'm here for, man.
Yeah, beautiful, man.
And we have to forgive.
Thank you very much.
We have to forgive.
Yeah, Obika, that's him, man.
But let me tell you something else. We have to forgive.
Well, that's one fella I would forgive, but just saying that,
No, I talk about him. I talk about people who talk, they don't want to forgive.
Okay.
This is about forgiveness.
Yes.
He who have not sinned, let them cast the first
Let's
stone.
cast the first stone. Yes, well, I understand that.
Yeah, so we must
sage,
forgive.
yes.
We must forgive. So when people
okay.
talking about they can't forgive, that is rubbish talk, man.
Yeah. I agree.
And by the way, the murder.
It's just that, of course, you will. I mean, forgiveness is not unfettered. Forgiveness is not unconditional. You will, of course, while to forgive, you will, of course, watch and observe, and then, of course, incrementally, you get them closer and closer to you. And that is what I was referring to, that some people you take off the cuff and others you monitor. Yes.
And I'm giving an update. The murder toll now is 5:37.
Uh-huh.
I said the murder toll is 5:37.
How much?
But you know the 5:37.
5:57. Okay, this morning I think we had
5:37. 37.
37. All right. Okay.
5:37.
37. But you know the this morning on the ground report somebody said I think closer to the 40s, or in the 40s. But go ahead.
No, it's 5:37. 5:37.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Right, but the mainstream media don't bring that. They deflated that.
Yeah.
So they get a smaller amount, 5:26 something like that. That's mainstream media, Guardian, Express.
I see. It's 20 something. All right, okay.
Yeah,
the 40s.
Yeah, but them, I say the Murato is 5:37.
Yeah, 37. Yes, okay.
Yeah, so I go on there. Let me continue.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, of course. Thank you very much. So we have clarity on a number of things in one fell sweep, you see, and that is what this is all about, the sharing of information because of the interactive nature of what we are doing here on a nightly basis, except of course on Friday night. Who knows? I may well want to, of course, engage you on a Friday as well, and maybe during the course of the day as well as we move closer and closer to the election day when it would have been called. So that being as it may, let's look. What are we concerned about? The reviving, the resuscitation, the amelioration, the freeing, the liberation of Trinidad and Tobago from the PNM and Rowley. After all, we have seen, and because it is unadulterated, it is pellucid, it is conspicuous that the PNM is a criminal enterprise led by, of course, a man. And of course, I like to taunt to those persons who say that Rowley is their leader. Well, let me tell you something. Led by a blasted rapist and pedophile. You know what I say? I say led by a blasted rapist and pedophile, Keith Christopher Rowley, and the so-called Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Put that in a pipe and smoke it, or you can say what you want. And the fact is that I'm saying that categorically, I'm saying that bold-facedly, and I'm saying let him take me to court. But I may have to take him to court for trying to make me a liar. Let me stop there. Of course, I see another phone that is ringing there. So I have two phones now here, but let's go and take a little piece of that, and then let's get Stalin's version of what Trinidad and Tobago is today. But before that, let's go to the mighty sniper. Is his name right? The mighty sniper. Yes, indeed.
Are daily making progress without any form of stupidness, and in this way we must gain success. For when we move in, we all move as one body, no bickering between you and me. For our policy stands for racial equality. Now when a stranger spending a little time in this lovely isle, every day you see him he always have a heart to smile.
I just want to sponsor to the mighty Stalin now. Well, of course, Stalin, the late Stalin. And here Stalin now. Let me just pause that before, of course, we want to hear Stalin. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yes, Miss Arima here again.
Yes, man. Yes, man. Yes.
I wanted to apologize to the Prime Minister Keith Christopher Rowley for those statements that you've been making through the years. And I wanted to forgive him as well.
Those are not matters to be forgiven.
The music.
Those are criminal. Those are criminal matters. That is supposed to be in the court. So I cannot forgive that. If I have said something that is not truthful.
You have to forgive that criminal. What Shorty do too is bad. What Jack Warner do too is very bad. It have people and want to hear about that. Look, that organization, Gopi. Thanks, Miss Valsane, right?
Yes.
They don't want to know. We ain't take no action inside of here, right? And they took action. And the Diwali Nagar will have to answer. Kamala could get help from everywhere. She just have to know how to strategize she thing, right? Jack Warner, like he could hardly stand up long. Look at he. Watch he. I not in all your cult, you know. Let me tell you something. I not in all your cult ways have the go along gang with the who go call and say something and then 10, 20 of them go side up and say yes, yes, yes. This time half
so
of them is no.
He brain quail too?
Watch me.
He brain emaciated.
All he face. Long time. He could hardly say 10 words straight.
All right, I hear you. But let's
hear me? I want you to forgive Keith Christopher Rowley.
No, it's not right? For me and to forgive. It's the criminal justice system.
I want you to forgive him.
It's rape you're talking about.
He do something wrong when he was young. He says so. He was young and in love.
No.
It had plenty.
He never forgave.
Let me show you something.
Do not forgive for Rowley that which he
crime
himself
is crime,
forgive
is forgive.
Yeah.
But when you look at it all, we are only human. We is not Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well, let him pay the price. There is a criminal. There's a criminal penalty he has to pay. Once he pays that,
safe. Don't mind that. Don't mind that.
All right.
Don't mind that. Forgive him. Look at how a fella rape his cousin.
Yeah.
You like to talk about rape, but you're only talking about Rowley. You must talk about other rape and thing, and it could help the situation.
That fella you're talking about, he was Prime Minister of this country? Well, I'm forgiven him at all.
He's a human being.
I thought he was, sorry. I thought he was Prime Minister. Otherwise, I'm forgiven him at all. Well, I could forgive that person, but not that fella who ended up being Prime Minister of the country. No. That's taking it too far.
Look at our little boy, 5 years. He cousin 21. Raping him in the Bamsi. 5 years old.
Yeah,
where's that?
Yesterday, of course, we had two, a 50-year-old and a 30-something-year-old.
You must stop them thing, let people know what's going on.
Of course, we do that on the ground report every day. Do that on the ground report.
This program better than the ground report now. It's a set of shit they talking the whole time in the morning. I see Mikey get damn fed up and he go, I give him right. It's to get that kind of pressure, let everybody get straight. You understand? When you do them things, people go straighten up.
I hear you.
That's that nonsense.
All right. Okay, bye-bye.
Forgive.
Yes, indeed. Let's go straight, of course, to Stalin, as we, of course, conclude the bantering, because, of course, we can go whole night, of course, toing and froing. But let's go straight to Stalin and hear what Trinidad is today. Listen to him.
What Sniper said, we have it done here no more. When a man say we not what we used to be, don't care how much it hurts, but one must agree. From 1965 to now, we are no more great. Our country has vast victory.
Wow.
No more our students ranked among the best. No more our scholars passing every
Under Rowley.
Dropping out from school every day in this island. No money to continue their education. Our pitch lake is the greatest the world has seen. Yet roads here are the worst in the Caribbean. So don't bow down your head, brother, don't feel bad. I'm only painting and you won't treat down Trinidad.
Oh yeah. Cancel. Rowley, Trinidad and Tobago. That's what he's singing about.
Regardless of your color, your class or race, long ago down here you must find an equal place. We had our crime and our delinquent problem, but like any other country that we had then, those days when on we people run them out, sniper ask them where the hell that they're talking about. But nowadays when they talk, we can't see the light. Our delinquent and crime problem has gone sky high. Every day you pick up your newspaper, you could read the wholesome youth for marijuana. Shooting and thieving is really disgusting. That a shame to admit that this thing happening. With revolution and race talk, my country is filled. Today I live under a sedition bill. I'm only conscious of my place and not going mad and painting over the portrait of Trinidad.
Under Rowley, only on under Rowley and the piano.
Foreigners who return and visit our island is shocked at our present situation. This same man had invited his wife to come to see Tobago and drink our local rum. Those were the days when no care whether big or small, whether rich or poor, we catered for one and all. But nowadays the thing changed up entirely. Is you see about you, and I see about me. Now in Tobago, them fishermen dying with grief. No more they taking tourists to Boca Reef. And if you ask them why, they gonna tell you flat. It's them big hotel owners controlling that. Even the scarlet ibis bird that they had around on Boca Reef, they start dying out one by one. I'm only conscious of my place and not going mad. I'm painting over the portrait of Trinidad.
Ah boy, and what we are yearning for? What are we yearning for? What are we yearning for? We are yearning for this. We are yearning for this. We have to get back, of course, our country. We can do better. We must do better under Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the UNC. And it is inevitable. Election is around the corner and it has consequences. Yes, indeed. Trinidad is my land, your land, and we must make it right.
I am proud and glad, but I can't understand why some people just talk it bad. But I know all of them we running them out. Don't know where they're talking about. They will paint your black every day, and the right things they will never say. Like our sportsmen being rated among the best.
Yes, indeed, of course, as Stalin would say, even that has dissipated. We are doing badly in the sports, of course. Recently, for the first time, I think the franchise in the ILP, the West Indies ILP, we, of course, I think we came last, or we were knocked out very early. And then, of course, we got no medals, of course, in the Olympics and other major international tournaments. And that is as a consequence. And indeed, as if even nature has gone against us, because there were some floods. Remember, of course, Greenville, and of course, there was earthquakes. You remember several of them in recent times, and of course, we can go on in terms of a natural phenomenon that seem to, of course, say, listen, that have conspired, frankly. Because of course you have an evil, diabolical, the devil personified, his Luciferian disposition clearly will not allow him to reach the pearly gates. But certainly the rest of us can jettison that by our votes, and then of course we are exposed, or we will be exposed to the pearly gate. That's to say, the gates of heaven. Let's go straight to the lines. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Hey, Lennox, good night, boy.
A pleasant good night to you.
Yeah, see that song you're playing?
Yay.
Portrait of Trinidad?
Yes.
When Sniper sing that.
Yes. Yes, Sniper,
he went
yes.
He went and thief something. And they jail him after everybody plead and say, don't jail him. They still jail him, you know.
Yes.
I think he get 2 years. I can't remember, I know he get jail. And everybody plead for him, all the lawyers. You just say none of that, he's a thief. And they jail him. Like that of a boy, you know. And as for that thing about forgiving Rowdy, I don't have any question. I know a girl. That happened to she. Big man rape, she went to go to school. Now rape, you know, sexual thing with she. And she ended up making about 7 children. Right? She never touched herself after he actualized it. Right? So there's no forgiveness in that.
Right.
And if the family refused to jail him, they want the jailing thing and all this thing. It's not forgiving in that. You don't wreck young girls like that, boy, you know. Big man is supposed to do school girls and things. I agree with you. No forgiveness for you. I like you. But she happened to somebody. You know, that's the one that you to a young girl happened, but the whole life done. And this thing with Diwali Nagar, which is he pushing up himself to go and talk to him.
Well, that level of embarrassment, I mean, I would have buried my head below the prime ministerial chair, never to raise it again, and urge Rowdy to call elections, because they know that they are the bane of the society. They know that the population hate them to the hilt, and yet still they will come in our faces and of course try to torture us further. But we are long suffering, and we will get there eventually. That is to say, to get rid of them in a very embarrassing way, as they embarrassed us.
But if there are people in the Diwali Nagar, don't listen to Gopio and Blackie. Something wrong with them.
Yeah.
Once in a while when they think and he talk already, he's not the one talk there.
Yeah.
I you know, big time Hindu or not like that, but the point is, you can insult your position and I want to go and talk in the Diwali Nagar.
Yeah, I mean, it is insulting.
Yes.
On the face of it. Not that whether Kamala is an Indian or not is irrelevant. She's a woman. She's a woman, and you cannot talk that kind of talk and as significant religious event of such importance to the Hindu community.
Yes.
You still have the belly to believe that people are going to accept you. Come on, your common sense will tell you stay away from that, but no, they have to be told to get the hell out. You are persona non grata. You are not wanted. Stay away.
Yeah. That's an insult to injury to want to go there and talk.
Of course, to allow him to talk, having insulted women like that. He could apologize in the parliament to what he wanted. There is procedure to of course address that. So he escaped sanctions by way of the disciplinary committee, or the committee responsible for disciplining parliamentarians. But certainly Certainly, a religious organization at a religious event cannot have such a scoundrel addressing them, particularly from such high office. No. And if it was Rowley, and because Rowley foisted him on us, I too would have banned Rowley as well. I don't know if the ban has been extended to Rowley, but I would have banned him as well for being so insensitive and frankly foolish.
Big event on the Hindu calendar.
Yeah.
And after you want to come there? according to you, all your tail.
Yes, all your tail, man.
All your tail.
Yeah, all your tail. Get out. Get out. Yeah. Your presence is in a state, have the population in a state of ad nauseum. It's sickening.
But you might make the whole Diwali thing fall down and kind of thing. That's like the devil going in it.
Yeah.
That's like the one who brought darkness over light. We
All
do kind.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, we go talk.
Yes, we'll talk. Yes, thank you. Okay, we have another caller. Let me see what's happening. Let's go here. Are you hearing me, caller? Let me just have another caller in the line. Caller, call back. I have some challenges with having two callers simultaneously on the handset. So you can call back and I will certainly reply. But of course, let's go to the creme de la creme. I say all of that earlier to bring this point to you, that a fellow like Roan now has reversed his position. He's diametrically opposed to the position that he would have taken during, of course, the round. In fact, he threatened that during the course of the elections, he's going to reveal some very choice pieces of information that no one, I suppose, or no one knows, or are yet to be privy to, but to which he was privy. Let's hear him. Let's hear him. We're going to take on excerpts of it.
Let me extend pleasant.
We're going to take excerpts of it, but tomorrow night I'll have a more comprehensive report for you in terms of Roger and the position that he has now taken as far as Kamala Prasad Bisasa is concerned, and his position on the Rowley administration, contrary to what.
But this very important statement,
contrary to what he would have said
that
before,
the OWTO feels we should inform the public about at this time. So thank you very much and welcome to the headquarters of the Alphys Workers Trade. I want to start by saying that when the statement is made that the refinery and the assets that surround it at Point-à-Pierre belongs to the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago, that statement is true. It belongs to all of the people, all of the taxpayers. Indeed, it belongs to our children and those who will make up the future of this country, because that asset belongs to Trinidad and Tobago. But I also want to say that those who are in government has a responsibility to not just conveniently say that the refinery.
Let's pause and let's go to the phone. Professor, good night. Welcome.
Hello, good night. Yeah, there's San Fernando.
Yes, San Fernando. Go ahead, my friend.
Tonight you're discussing the removal of the ships again from the coat of arms.
If we are discussing that tonight?
Yeah.
Well, not really, but you can raise it within the limited time that we have remaining. I was looking at tonight really persons who have reversed their position and try to let the population, and of course many of the callers are saying that there should be forgiveness, others are saying that there should not be forgiveness, but I'm saying it should be conditional forgiveness. And of course, I decided to play Roger to show his reverse position and in his own way, of course, begging for forgiveness or asking the population to forgive, as he attempted to justify why it is that he supported the PNM, and while of course he will not be supporting he will not be supporting the PNM and Rowley at this time.
Oh, because I was going to make a point that with all the decisions that Rowley is making, and they are bad ones for Trinidad and Tobago, right? I think a caller was saying that not one of his supporters or anyone is speaking out against the decisions, bad decisions that he's making. But the thing about it is that I'm looking at the cabinet itself.
Okay.
Not even one of the members of the cabinet is kicking against him to say, well, I think you're going down a wrong road. Like, somehow or the other, they and all, like, they're not, the cabinet itself is not, people are not standing up to this man, even at the cabinet level. And that is something that is surprising. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all the bad decisions that this man is making, removal of the ships from the coat of arms, and you're changing this and you want to do this, it's crazy. It's crazy, but yet still nobody is standing up against this man, even at the level of the cabinet, and say, well, look, who advising him? I don't know. And then too, I'm looking at the other issue, even with Hines, whatever happened to the initiative with that thing that went down with Hines, where he was supposed to have some thing with the young people. That's like it going through and all.
Yeah, I think he mentioned, of course, he asked, I think the finance minister in some knee-jerk response to identify $100 million. The next thing, we are not hearing anything about it. In fact, right out here on George Street, the young men are still asking the parliamentary representative, including of course Hines, were around sometime. I suppose because they hear that Lennox Smith is around, and of course we have a program that we are unfolding as well. So they try to bamboozle them, but they are not going to. They're not going to succumb to that. They're not going to grovel to that. In other words, they are not impressed.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, because there's nothing really. There's a word I want to use for it, but there's nothing really. I ain't seen anything coming out of it as yet. So,
nothing tangible, nothing practical, nothing developmental, whether it's human resource or physical development or improvement or renovation or innovation, as the case may be. Nothing. So it was more of the same. Plenty talk, a pound of talk, and with, in this case, no action. I'm going to say an ounce of action, but not even an ounce of action.
Yeah, well, that's the 2 points that I want to make tonight. So,
no problem. No problem, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, right. Yeah, let's go back, of course, to Roger, and here he is, of course, in a sense, confession. I love that situation when people have to eat their vomit, so to speak. And I'm being, of course, figurative here, not literal. But with these fellas, well, you probably could, because of what they did before.
Of Trinidad and Tobago and the people and the taxpayers. But the diplomatic center is also the assets of the people of Trinidad and Tobago and the taxpayers. So when someone gets up and start to rant and rave as though he forgot to take his tablets, when he start to go as though he's spinning out of control, I want to remind him through you, the media, that the diplomatic center, the office of the Prime Minister, those assets belong to the people, and I will tell you why in an explanation in just a bit. All of those assets and the government of which he is Prime Minister is accountable to the people of Trinidad and Tobago and the taxpayers. Because we, the taxpayers, pay them, and we often forget that. that we employ them. We are the employers, and I want us in the coming weeks, months, as we head into this general election, to remember that as a people. The people of Trinidad and Tobago employ the government. We employ the government to improve the quality of our lives and standard of living and to protect us and to ensure that we are safe and secure. That's the basic responsibility. But everything that was done from since
Let's go to the lines. Of course, let's go to the lines. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Mr. Lennox again.
Yes, good night to you as well.
Miss Valsin here again.
Yes.
It have a lot. I want to let you know a lot a Hindu comment thing, right? Kick against it with Stuart Young and them.
Okay.
Okay, so I just want you to know, right? All different temples kick against it.
Oh, great. So it,
right?
So it was a widespread consensus among the
listen to me.
religious,
Let me just say like the Mahasapa,
the holy, holy temples, yes,
right?
around
the
country.
Hindu thing, they don't like what Stuart Young, and you know what Stuart Young didn't do? He could have get away, you know. If they stand up in Parliament and say, my opposition leader, I apologize to you. He apologized to the House, not she, you know.
Yeah, not she, yes, that's right. He did a generic stunt,
right?
Without focusing on the person who was the victim of his
Mr. Lennox, a
nastiness.
lot of Hindu community, all the temples and them, against that, you know. But remember, if they only talk about it, will be victimated. They will be victimized.
Yeah. But I want to see how Rowley like them kind of things. So I see them attempting, of course, to twist it now. Pure politics. I seen something like the banana and the monkey coming out.
Why I will tell you about Diwali Nagar. My husband, Han Hanuman Singh, right? All of them found Diwali Nagar, you know.
Okay.
So I could talk about Diwali Nagar, but all the small temple and the chiefs with this temple and don't like what Stuart Young tell Kamala, you know.
Yes.
Right? That is against. If somebody tells Stuart Young, we hear you better know the red coach when the night come, how he would have feel. But Mr. Lennox, I want to ask you something.
Like a cow all over the place, how he's being.
But I want to ask you something. Do you know what Stuart mother? I want to ask you something. You might not know, but I know. I'm from South. I come from South. Do you know where Stuart Young mother come from?
No, I don't.
From Penal. She's an Indian woman.
Okay. Let's see.
And watch me. If I want me to come in Ryson Road on the Beetham Highway and put my neck, she's an Indian woman. She's from Penal Rock Road, Bunsey Trace.
Yeah, so that's how despicable these fellas are for the almighty dollar and for power.
A dog will rub with a dog, you will get free after free. But I want to ask Stuart Young how the red cow just be. But a lot of temples coming out at that, you know.
Yes.
And they say if Diwali Nagar don't institute a bulletin, Gopis are going to take it very high, you know.
So you want to make a mockery of the woman. He's so stupid, he's so nincompoopish, he's so asinine, he's so moronic that he know what he has done for her. He has, of course, he has, of course, escalated her popularity and her electability, and therefore the UNC. I expect closer to 39 seats.
With the same dog that he's rubbing with.
That's right, exactly. And
you understand?
He's all alone, and Rowley trying to defend that.
Just laughing at him, Rowley going away, and Rowley say, "You stay me here. They want prime ministership. Take it and laugh it." Listen to me, Mr. Lennox.
Yes.
I know Stuart Young when he was nothing walking in Westmoreland, Windsor Road. He and his brother, Angus, and nobody watch at him. But listen to me, the Hindu community taken a great step in this thing, eh?
Yeah. Well, of course, they ought to. I mean, it's a disrespect,
now, if it come in Parliament, yes, we nobody say no make a mistake and say, Mrs. Vicessa, my mic wasn't on. My mic was on. I apologize. I said my thing. But you do it willfully. But they say calling him, but set him up.
Well, damn good
Because
for him.
what make calling him,
It
but
should not have been
can't sit
said
up
in the
in the
first place.
same
So
party.
I have no qualms. I'm not sympathetic. I'm not unsympathetic.
Yeah, listen to me, a lot of Hindu groups, very, this thing with Diwali Nagar, they invite them. Because I was saying, I'm not telling you, hear what I tell you, eh?
Yeah.
Mr. Lennox?
Yeah.
I hear they say if he enter the entrance day, by ritual day, they're going to take off the current and they're going to stone them. I am telling you what I hear in. I have family in Tiantec. I have family in the thing.
Right.
Right? So
Right.
then look for that.
Of course.
So Miss Rima, happy Diwali. Shuk Diwali to you, and I hope you like the day and thing. And Miss Santa Cruz, we love you. I am hearing you, girl. So, Mr. Lennox, what I tell you, I'm the fact that the Gopi is very serious, with that statement.
Well, I expect
and
that it's a
Diwali
serious
Nagar,
organization.
do
for
not,
what I know of them, yeah.
like what a statement by tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
hell break loose.
Yeah, well, I see it is already making the wrongs
You're seeing it?
as we speak, yeah.
Okay, so good night,
Okay.
and you take care.
Yeah, thank you very much, of course, for that piece of information and clarity with it. Of course, pleasant good night, welcome. Sorry for keeping you so long on the
There is no problem, Mr. Father, you should be very hot.
Yes, all right, go ahead.
Don't forget, when they now come out, short young, Alwari and Randall Mitchell, I think it was, went in Mokoyo Savannah and played Diwali.
Okay.
You can remember that?
Mm-hmm.
They keep a Diwali celebration, they show it dancing up like other Indian people that dance up. And they call out Black Diwali Queen. So, them have something against Diwali. I mean, they say Saturday about this year, well, we go do. So, he insulted Diwali once, and you come in and you want to do it again. But according to the lady, I have a shit on. They might get some big stone in the backside. Yeah?
Right.
You know, you insult, you want to insult Diwali. They have no respect for Diwali and them kind of thing. Even he have no respect for Catholic, for no religion whatsoever. But the Diwali, come at the property, you come to Melons. We are over that. So we want him boy in charge, you know. The independent senator in charge of that now, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I don't live in the UNC senator or PNM senator.
Okay.
But he is not the one talking to Diwali. Look at me how he's defending Diwali.
Yeah, that would be sacrilegious.
Yes.
If it is a religious event, that is a sacrilegious.
That's right.
His very presence, will demonstrate the inviting of evil. And Diwali is about what? Diwali is about the conquering light over darkness and evil.
Yes.
But of course, the PNM Indian senator, he says, of course, the Diwali is darkness over light.
But he's not.
Yeah, the minister in the Ministry of Works, he said, in the parliament, he said, Diwali is darkness over light. I said, my goodness. And of course, Kamala, when she, at the end of her presentation, she was taunting him by saying, of course, and remember, Diwali is light over darkness. I'm sure she was referring to him. Yeah, she taunted him. Yeah.
He's one, he working with Roan till
Yeah. So it's compound nincompoops. Compound nincompoops. That's what they are. I mean, compound. Yeah. Both of them put together an assembly of nincompoops. Yes.
He want to go. Look now. But I hear you, which is so we have to be good for them. Yes. That connection, they look like what you want to disrespect Diwali. That's careful.
Yeah, boy. But of course, even the gods wish to destroy, I suppose they first send them mad. So they have gone. So they have gone mad, and of course, we are reminded that what a tangled web we weave when we first set out to deceive. And of course, power intoxicates and makes men giddy. And these fellas are totally drunk. And as a consequence, they are stumbling and fumbling. And of course, are in a state of total, what I consider to be retrogression.
But you ever see no girls to play you guys like what you want to play, you know?
Yeah.
It's only nice for one to be inside there.
Yes.
Not playing them kind of games, you know, so.
Yeah.
Can't go full stop.
Okay, right? My friend. Yes.
All the tail, hang on.
All the tail, that's right, all the tail. Yes, indeed. Of course, let me just get a little more of Roger for you. I think it is very interesting indeed, as people, of course, do some introspection, and even though they may appear to be courageously, what I say, bold-faced, the fact of the matter is that we must know that they are burning up inside, having made a fool of themselves.
The OWT is not afraid of anybody. So don't be afraid to be caught clapping against the bully. He's Rowley, as far as we see, understand, and know, he tries to bully everybody and get everybody afraid. But I want to say this morning, before we go any further, we have never been afraid of the colonial masters in this country. We have never been afraid of Dr. Eric William. We have never been afraid of Ian.R. Robinson. We have never been afraid of Patrick Manning, God rest his soul. We have never been afraid of Basdeo Pandey. We have never been afraid of Kamala Prasad Bissessa. So who the hell is history for Rowley? We are not afraid of him at all. So don't threaten us. Don't try to frighten us or threaten us. We are not afraid of you. And in any case, my advice is for you to make sure before you leave home, take your medicine. Yeah?
So you're hearing, of course, what I consider to be the converted, or put another way, the metamorphosized Roger. I know for the first time, because of course when we invited them and when they saw that the pushback movement, and they had no choice, of course, but to talk about the pushback movement, even when they would have been motivated to organize labor marches around Port of Spain. Well, we were the motivating factor. We are aware. We have been in communication. As I say, it's part and parcel. So I do not want it to be said for one moment that we are anti-unification. What we want, however, is that it must be conditional, and therefore one has to be eclectic. One has to be very selective, because you don't want an arrangement to moving forward where Kamala Prasad Bissessa and the UNC, in managing their affairs, are looking over their shoulders or have their handbrakes up, because you have these urgent elements, infiltrations. We have a duty and responsibility to encircle and, of course, make certain like an amoeba, we get rid of those possibilities. So that will be a major task and challenge of the Ground Report and other platforms such as the Corridor Transformation. Professor, good night, welcome.
Lennox.
Yes.
I sent a clip on this phone for you, what you played for me, right?
Okay.
It's with this same Instagram woman,
yeah, and
the senator that she says one of the bright Indians.
Yeah. I saw it.
Right. I have the clip here. The clip is only about 20-something seconds. Okay. You go play it and you go hear for yourself.
Yeah.
Play it for everybody to hear it.
You said for me, but no, I will do it tomorrow, because I'm focusing on that tomorrow as the observer, because we don't have much time. We just have about 9 minutes, and I want to finish off with Roger, the converted.
the convenient converter, you mean?
You could qualify that conversion, yes, the convenient converted. Thanks very much for adding that adjective to, of course, complete that description of Roger at this time.
He and the entire OWT will get boxy now, because when he was marching up and down with Rowley before they get into office,
pulling like, effigy and mannequin and all kind of thing, yeah.
all over the place with Section 34 and this and the other. And
Yes,
Kamala
yes.
is the worst thing size well and all kind of thing.
But
Now look at them.
in this interview here, he reconciled all of that. You know, he said that you heard him say that they are not afraid of anyone. But of course, he then went on to give a plethora of trade unions all over the globe. He went to the United States. He went England and so on, saying that they support and endorse political parties and they have a right and responsibility simply because once the union leadership believe that a party is acting in their interest, that is to say workers and the trade union, they have a right so to do. So he has a solid argument as to why he was so whimsical and so biased. But of course, he destroyed that argument when, of course, he refused the percentage that Kamala was given and accepted less under Rowley. And up to now, it is a mystery as to why his followers, the members of the OWTU, did, of course, string him up, but not literally, but of course castigate him so that he ought not to be at the helm of that union at this point in time. But we will see how things move forward. Better late than never.
The OWTU is a split party, you know. I mean, a split organization. Remember, they have PLM supporters in all of these organizations.
Yeah. So that's why I'm talking how I'm talking here, because I expect a further meandering, a further evolving of this so-called transformation that he has given on the right path, but we need to see it right through until the next elections. Because
he had a character named Ozzy Warwick. That fella used to have a show every Friday on I-95. Yes. So he busting mark on Kamala and this one and the other one and all kind of thing. All of them tongue get tied now.
Yeah, they get tighter and their mouth gone. All of them get pip. Rowley introduced that term into what I consider the political lexicon of Trinidad and Tobago. Pip simply means that they get a tongue tied up, they can't speak.
Yeah, because you know in races they have a thing equipment and they put it on the horse. They call that a tongue tie. That what them put on in the mouth now.
Tongue tie. I hear you, my friend. I hear you. All right, my friend. Thanks very much for your contribution, and of course, I'm going to certainly take a look at that video that you've sent. I'm not promising to play tonight simply because we have little time, just about 9 minutes.
Define that, yeah. And if it was somebody else, the hypocrisy, they would have been burning up the place. They are a set of hypocrites, but they are a set of duncy hypocrites in any case. So, here's what Stuart Young say at that signing. I would imagine that will play out as it should play out. So he's relying on the 9-day wonder of the people of this country. So the big scandal that erupted this last week at the diplomatic center, here's what Stuart Young, the silk man, is imagining. I would imagine that will play out as it should play out. So that people, what he means, what we understand him to mean, people go forget, and they will just drink milk, forget his silk, and forget that a businessman, a billionaire from India, in the diplomatic center, shaking the Prime Minister's hands, except if I am not seeing correct, and I think I am, taking out picture, smiling both of them, in the diplomatic center, but all of these charges hang over the head of that person. And then he says he don't know, he didn't know. And then we move on to another scandal after scandal. And then he tell the country, he has been solving the problems of the country one by one. He has been creating the problems of the country 10 by 10.
Oh boy.
Over and over. A scandal. Most scandalous affair. And it doesn't stop there. Stuart Young continues. And the article goes on. However, Young added, quote, from what I have seen as well, he is a successful businessman in India. One of the top businessmen. especially in the steel industry. And
well, of course, you know that he's talking about Jindal and, of course, his bid for the oil refinery and the concerns of Roger having regard to him, Jindal, meeting with the Prime Minister and the Prime Minister, accommodating him at the diplomatic center and then telling us that he's here to and he's interested in the oil refinery. After, of course, bids were supposed to be submitted, some 8 bids, and then, of course, it appears, and we on the ground report had suspected that there was a nexus between, of course, the presence of Jindal and the extension of time. So, whilst, of course, all bids were supposed to be in by the end of May of this year, they extended, of course, the bidding process to August, I believe it is, yes. Only to accommodate Jindal, and then, of course, the whole issue about the procurement legislation, and, of course, the question of the rule of law and the willingness of Dr. Rowley and his government. Clearly, the government must have known, and if they didn't, they ought to have known, and therefore they are also culpable of breaching, of course, the recently minted procurement legislation. That is the kind of governance we are looking at. A man who clearly is out of control, a government that clearly has weaponized itself against the people and is extremely toxic. Its toxicity knows no boundary, and therefore when we go to the polls on the next occasion, you know what to tell Rowley, like Tobago did.
End of quote. So if you're successful, never mind if you have procurement legislation. If you're successful as a businessman, never mind that you have charges over your head. Never mind that you have the Prime Minister shaking the hand of this man who have all of these charges. If you're successful, to them, that is all that matters. So there's something has to be wrong with that. Good composition, yes, that comes from the trade union movement and OWT in particular, as we find new ways to get our message across, because Calypso is one of the means of getting message out to the people, and we will use that medium as we see fit. You have to tell me to sing my Calypso, my brother. I will sing my Calypso. And
of course, he's taunting and retorting to Dr. Rowley and tell him to go and sing his Calypso and leave
utilize the skill
his business alone.
That we have,
our business, he's saying, leave his business alone.
That we possess to be able to compose, to write, compose, and to sing, and to even perform. Yeah? Yeah. You are one kind of performance that failed the country. We come in different ways. And from 81,262 in 2014 to 53,726 barrels of oil per day in 2023. That's under PNM. Under 2014, it wasn't PNM, but from that time to now, it has fallen by 33.4%. Challenge that. Tell me that I'm wrong, and let's have a constructive discussion. And of course, nothing Trinidad and Tobago. And I want the young people to listen. The young people who they will be coming to parade you in the sports day and the foolishness and so on. The young people who suffer in silence every day in this country. Young single mothers who have to get up very early every day that God sent to go and do work in the public service, in all of the different ministries and so on. These, our young people, are now given month-to-month contract, and you solving the problems one by one every day. Nothing was said about that. Our youths who qualify themselves, go to school, learn well, month-to-month contract, those who are fortunate to get a job. And many hundreds of thousands of them cannot get a job. But those who get a job, they are exploited. And this leprechaun, they call Imber, yeah, this man who taxed blood out of stone, who want now NIS benefits for you to receive that after AIDS 65. You have to wait an additional 5 years to receive that. Who instructs and designs all kinds of policies, all kinds of punitive tax measures and so on, with penalties to get tax for the shortfall that they want to make up in the revenue. So you fail in economy, you fail with energy, you fail with crime, you fail across the board. But to what? To make up for your shortfall is property tax, increase electricity rate, increase water rates to come, all of those things. And listen, Trinidad and Tobago, don't forget, don't forget where they put, it's not even on the back burner. It's somewhere simmering right there on the stove. They are increasing salaries. Mark my word, as soon as they get into office, God forbid if that ever happens, they're coming back to increase their salaries and so on. These are the heartless people. So that is what we get, that is what the country gets for supporting that nonsense and so on. But we will keep our eyes on the prize, and we will continue to inform the public what it means for another 5 years under Dr. Rowley. Yeah? More crime, more vagrancy, more unemployment, more attack on trade unions. And as I say that, where you ever hear in the world that it's okay for them to attack the trade unions and it's okay for us to remain silent about that?
Well, of course, people, we have come to the end of tonight's exercise. I trust that, of course, you would have been better for it. You understand the issues much more clearly, and that you will make it. It contributes, of course, to your own decision. Not that you have not yet made up your minds, but our job is, of course, to consistently remind you that the devil is the PNM and Rowley. The criminal enterprise is PNM and Rowley. The incompetence that we exhibit and the hardship that we experience is as a result of the PNM and Rowley. And therefore, when you go to the polls, whenever that time comes, that you do so without giving them an opportunity to thief, by everybody going out in every constituency and voting solidly for the UNC and therefore Kamala Persad-Bissessar. She has been through enough. The PNM has taken us for a bizarre ride, claiming that they are pristine and that they are impeccable and immaculate, only to discover that they are blasted wolf and fox in sheep clothing and must be dealt with appropriately because they are a menace to Trinidad and Tobago's society. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. And of course, I'll see you tomorrow morning on the ground report, Andy, Mikey, and myself. And we return here, of course, tomorrow night, where we will have another episode of the corridor transformation. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So once again, we want to get back to where? Here is where we want to get back.
Trinidad is my land, and of it I am proud and glad. But I can't understand why some people just talk it bad. But I know all of them we running them out. Don't know where they're talking about. They will paint you black every day, and the right things they would never say. Like our sportsmen being rated among the best. Our scholars have sit and passed every test and put us right alongside the rest. But then our our pitch lake is the greatest one of its kind. Our sugar and oil is really refined. So you see, friends, this is a real thing, Solomon's mind.
Now people clap their hands. People felt so glad when Sniper paint portrait of Trinidad. But look around today, your eyes may get sore. What Sniper said, we have it done here no more. When a man say we not what we used to be, don't care how much it hurts, but one must agree. From 1965 to now, we are no more great. Our country has vaccinated. No more our students ranked among the best. No more our scholars passing every test. But dropping out from school every day in this island. No money to continue their education. Our pitch lake is the greatest the world has seen. Yet roads here are the worst in the Caribbean. So don't bow down your head, brother, don't feel bad. I'm only painting and you won't treat down Trinidad.
This is a story about a country called TNT that turned yellow in the year 2020. The people want the UNC. The people need the UNC. The people want the UNC. The people need UNC. Now is the time that we vote in UNC. Now is the time that we vote in UNC. My people have no fear. Anti-Kamla is here. Now is the time that we vote in UNC. Now is the time that we vote in UNC. Salute! No! Is the time that we vote in UNC. Now is the time that we vote in UNC. My people have no fear. Anti-Kamla is here. Now is the time that we vote in UNC. Now is the time that we vote in UNC. UNC for our everyone's coming out to bring about a change. I see young and old, we crying out for this. Yeah, want a government to drill policy, a government to do joke, a government to do fight we down, a government to do good, a government with integrity. No look how they understand. A government in city and tea, no without the ballad man everybody. BNM must go. Tell them go. BNM must go.